couple of years ago, we had the bridge maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
where the Allen County Council basically asked for the city and some of the other local government entities to help out with the bridge maintenance.
Right.
I think that one of the things that did was it highlighted the enormous drain that the criminal justice system is on the county's budget.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's something that needs to be explored, be it through legislation, which I think would probably be the only remedy, maybe to look at sharing some of that cost with the city?
I think we need to start the discussion. It's what I hear over and over again. And people in the county, out in the county, because people who live in the city sometimes don't feel that they're part of the county. But almost 80% of the people who are in Allen County live in the city. But those people who live in the unincorporated areas and all, they are very concerned because they feel that they are paying far too much for a jail that is frequented by people primarily, 80% or close to 80%, who come from the city. I wasn't around, thank goodness, when it was decided that Allen County should pay for the jail and certain services and the city should pay for certain services. But I think the discussion needs to begin about how to make the system fair for everyone. I don't have a problem with starting the discussion. As far as a legislation, I don't think we're that far. I don't think we're that far into it. But I think it's something that people are talking about, but you don't hear anybody talking about in public. I think it's time for the public discussion to begin. Mm-hmm. I really do. You know, I don't know what the reasons were, for the county. I'm sure that someone probably felt that it was advantageous for the county back then to do it that way. But there are people who feel that that they shouldn't be paying for the jail because there are far too many people who live in the city who are benefiting from services from that. So I think the discussion needs to take place. How it's going to fall out, I don't know. What I'm interested in, quite frankly, is reducing the criminal justice burden for everyone. We need to find a way to keep them out of the criminal justice system, because that's what's going to save us money. But you can't do that unless you address some of the social problems, and you cannot get away from poverty. And I'm not making excuses. What I'm saying is you have to look at the underlying causes. If a man can't get a job, if he can't feed his children, if he can't qualify for food stamps or what have you, people are going to find a way to survive, whether it's legal or illegal. So what I'm saying is, I think if we concentrate a little on the front end, if we start looking at what we're doing with our laws, and sometimes jailing people, putting people in jail when they haven't committed violent crimes. It may be a crime against community or what have you, but I really think we need to look at that. Perhaps there would be a better approach to put these folks to work in doing something that will improve the community. But we have got to find a way to reduce those costs because it is a drain on Allen County, and no one is going to argue that, beginning with me. It's a tremendous drain on our resources, and it's a tremendous drain on human resources and on families. And it's something that I guess I'm as frustrated with as anybody else, but we need to start talking about it. We really do. And start talking about a more equitable way to pay for the jail.
Sure.
And I don't know whether that's going to make me popular or unpopular, but if people are thinking it and they're talking about it, then we need to bring it to the table and engage in the discussion where it makes sense.
Property tax caps, we've touched on it a little bit.
I'm concerned about them.
Yeah.
I'm concerned. We already know that we're going to have tremendous shortages. We don't want to let people go. We don't want to do anything to diminish the service, the high level of services that we provide in Allen County. I don't want to even think about firemen being let go and police officers. Public safety is number one in everybody's minds. It costs a lot to keep those folks working. And I'm concerned. I'd like to perhaps adopt a wait and see what happens for another year or so. That's my feeling. Approach the permanent property tax, cautiously. Cautiously.
Township government, that's another one of those issues that's been talked about off and on. Do we keep township government? Do we do away with it, absorb it into the county?
Nobody has shown me a model where I'm going to see an enhanced service delivery provided by the county, more so than what's being done by some of these townships. I support township government as long as it's effective. Township government. Wayne Township, I think they're doing a good job at Wayne Township. I think that more training is needed. You know, I've listened. I've been part of the panel that interviews these folks when they come before Allen County Council. These people live in these communities. They know the people who need help, and I think they provide vital services. But they have to be accountable as well as anyone else. And that is, they have to use property tax dollars responsibly. And if they're not, then they should not be allowed to operate. Some better than others. I think they need training. And I think that they have to be held accountable for acquiring that training. And this is not a mom and pop operation, or at least it shouldn't be. And some run much better and more professional than others. The good ones I say we keep. The others, then we find a way to make them more accountable. But I do support township government. And I'm not going to repeat the township government is that closest to the people and what have you, because there are other states that operate without townships. But right now, I'm saying that I do support township government, yes.
Okay. One of the big issues that came up in the last year or two was the 200 East Berry Renaissance Square purchased by the city. I know it seems like I remember one of the meetings that you were not on the committee. You were not one of the council members that was on the committee. But I remember you weren't too happy with the way that things had been handled at times on as far as the discussion groups.
Well, you know, if you make up your mind before you sit down at the table, what's the point of agreeing to be part of the discussion? I try to keep an open mind. I wasn't real thrilled when the building was purchased because, listen, we were in a downward spiral at that time. However, I was aware that it's kind of cramped in the city-county building. I was a consultant. I had a consultant's contract with the city about 4 years ago. And the city needed additional room that wasn't available in that building. I thought $7 million is a lot to plunk down or what have you, but that was city council's responsibility of determining whether it was a feasible idea, what have you. I felt once the committee was in place that people should have approached it and tried to have a meeting of the minds, and I felt that certain people were not. They were just there and they were against it. My feeling was, if you have two buildings, then you figure out a way to maximize local services by figuring out who goes where and how. But you have to make local government customer friendly and you look for efficiencies. And to me, I thought for a while there wasn't enough. Well, there wasn't any meeting of the minds at all for a while. People were just determined to keep them totally separate. And I don't think you can keep services separate. We've already seen that we can save money and we can also improve services by combining services. So I felt I would have been a great addition to that committee. But however, let me say, in all honesty, I had a chance to be on that committee because when the call came out, the president said, whoever wants to serve. I did not, by the time I checked my messages that same day, other people had stepped forward. So I can't in any way claim that the process was unfair. But I just think, and I agree with the Journal Gazette, I probably would have brought a perspective that would have helped the process along.
Would you be in favor of, there's been a lot of talk about the development team, the planning and the permitting and all that to be in one floor, really, one building? Is that something that you think is a pretty good idea?
You know what? I really haven't looked at that. I think they've got the people who were on that team. I know Larry Brown, I think Roy Buskirk is on that, and I know they are working with the permitting process and what have you. I think they'll figure it out. I really do.
Sure.
I have high hopes that we'll get through this. We're going to have some bump in the road. You can't keep politics out of politics. But I don't have any suggestions. I was clear on the plan that I supported, which I think was Plan B or Plan C, where the public safety providers would be located in the city-county building, and that most of the other services would be. And now there's some issues, as I understand it, around where the assessors are going to go. We just invested money in combining the county assessor and Wayne Township assessor's office, to an area where, again, they would be able to work together to provide services to people coming in. But I think we can work through that. And everybody's not going to be pleased. Sure. Some people just had their working areas moved, and now they're going to have to move again. But this process will never be perfect. But I think we're moving in the right direction. And whether we needed a building that large or not can still be debated, but we have the building now. So let's fill it and make use of it. And I also think that there are probably some opportunities that will come out of this process that we hadn't even thought about before.
Sure. 3 commissioners, 3 better than 1?
1. Okay. 1 point of accountability and a strong administrator who sees to the day-to-day activities and duties and running the county, but 1 point of accountability. So I support the 1 commissioner. I think that's one of the Kernan Shepherd recommendations that I do support.
A casino in Allen County?
Well, we need money. However, I'm not sure that by having a casino we're going to see the kind of revenue that because we're surrounded right now with casinos. You've got them in Indiana, and you've I don't know. I'm concerned about gambling and the other side of that. I've talked to the prosecutor. I've talked to some people who were in the criminal justice system, in the court system, and they're saying that it'll be a wash. It may bring in some revenue, but then you look on the other side. So I'm not sure that I want to support